Okay, everybody, cue spoon and music in three, two, one.
We
But yeah,
are
man, I think
back.
especially we are back. We're back and raring to go from different sides of the world, man.
I'm excited, dude.
Spooned it,
I'm excited. I
spooned
feel
it, boys, taking over the world, man. Taking
taking
over
over
the
the
world.
world one subscriber at a time, baby. One at a time, man. One at a time.
One at a time.
And it's
We're,
great to
we're not in a
have.
rush.
We're not. No. We're just taking our time, having a good go of it. We always enjoy talking to one another. I'm excited. I just got a new burst of energy as soon as I hit record, so it's just ready to go.
Ugh. Let's get it. Let's get it, boy. We're
Let's
ready to
get
go.
it.
Um, but yeah, man. I mean, like we were mentioning before, especially with the cold weather, coming home, having dinner, having a cheeky whiskey. Like, I am a fan. I'm a massive fan, but I don't think I even knew this of what your like drink of choice is. Like, are you more of like a liquor man, or do you prefer something slightly more low key and chilled out? What's your go to?
I have had a couple different go-tos since turning 21, I'll say, and at the moment, okay, I'm definitely more of a mixed drink person than anything straight. Uh, I just love adding fruit. I love mint. I love lemons and limes, and there's just so many different great drinks to make with those. So I'll say something lemony, something with limes has been my go-to over the last probably year and a half. I'll say year, yeah. My drink of choice has been a blueberry mojito, which is just
Oof.
tasty. It's so good. You get the blueberries, get the lime juice, fresh if you can, phenomenal, and rum, white rum, and lately I've been making strawberry daiquiris. And
Yo.
the other night I made one, and that's just again it's lime juice, it's rum, and then just frozen strawberries basically, and some simple syrup in there. And then the other night I decided I had some leftover mint. I was like, I'll throw that in there. So fresh. It was such, dude. You just like took a sip or a little spoonful because I make it really thick. It's just kind of like a smoothie, dude. It tastes so good, so good,
You're just sitting there like fresh. Yeah.
fresh.
That's actually what I was going to ask you of whether or not you were a cocktail man because I really quite like my cocktails because I've got an awful sweet tooth and from what I can take it you do as well. So like especially something like ooh, I don't know, like an old fashioned. An old fashioned goes down so well for me. You know, just so obviously the starting off either the whiskey or the bourbon. I suppose you could do it with as well. Chicken lemon, simple syrup. Oof, it's hard to go wrong, man. Like I just find something like that quite simple, but just so nice. And I think even I think they look good as well. Like if you're out for dinner or if you're if you're just having like if you even if you have it at home, you make the drink and you're like, you know what? I appreciate the look of that beverage even before I've like tasted it or anything like that. I think there's just I don't know. There's something different about it. By the way, to everyone in the US, obviously, I mean, I am 21, but I have been having drinks since I was 18 because that's the law here. So don't panic. Okay, it is legal. I'm not a
Obey,
lawbreaker.
obey the law.
Obey the law. That's what we're about on the Spooned It Pod. We
That's always been our message: is
yeah, that's from
respect,
day one. We
respect
told
authority.
you. You heard it. You heard it here first. Respect the
Don't.
law, or don't respect anybody.
Well,
What?
I don't.
No.
Yeah, I don't
I
know. I don't
mean,
know
maybe
about. I don't know if I'd
both.
say that one, but definitely the
Just
first part
both. Do both.
where
Definitely
you
the
where
first
you
part.
respect the law and
Ignore
other
the second
people.
part.
Perhaps I would have to
Yes.
say, yeah.
I feel like well,
I
I'm
think we're
just
just gonna
rounding
move
out.
on. We're gonna
We're
move
gonna move
right
on,
along.
gents. How has your week been since the last pod? I feel like it's been a while since we've done this, but I love that we're getting into the flow now. But how have you been?
It
How's your
does.
week been?
It does feel like it has been a while, even though I think it's been less than a week. No, since we last recorded. I don't even know. It doesn't. It feels like a long
Yeah.
time, but I know it actually hasn't been. I think it's probably just it's been a long week for Americans in general, I'll say. But
Oof.
yeah, yeah. No, it's been a pretty good week. I got to go hang out with the fam, which is always great. They're a fun time. Saw my dog. She's adorable, but she's
Oh,
getting
bless.
older,
She's an
dude.
angel.
She's like struggling to go down the stairs a little bit. It's just she
Seriously.
looks she looks she looks tired, but they're getting her looked at. Maybe they're gonna get some to help her joints out a little bit,
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so she's having an appointment. But it's sad to see her go because obviously having watched her grow up from a small puppy, and you were there too. You know,
Mate, yeah. I mean, since day one, Tavu's just been like part of the Anderson family. So
yeah.
how old is she now?
She is coming up on 11 ish.
Wow. Isn't
Is
that
that
like
is that
times
right?
seven? Is it times seven for dog years or
It's
something?
not. It's not really because I remember reading an article
I'm
about
not
this a
gonna
few
lie.
years
I've
ago.
I've never understood how that works. Like that
It,
has
well,
always just been something I've said and not understood.
yeah, it's kind of an estimation because I believe how it works is obviously they mature very quickly. Like they become an adult in their first like year and a half.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the first years are like super accelerated, and then after that it kind of like slows down like relatively to how that. So it'd be
Okay.
like, 1 to 18 ish in a year and a half or something like. Don't quote me, but it's something along those lines. And then after that, they kind of slow down as they like reach adulthood. The aging doesn't
Hmm.
get quite as dramatic. But yeah, she's getting up there. And every time I think about like how old she actually is, it blows my mind because she's just been
Yeah,
there
man.
for such a long time since we moved. I mean, we got her in our, I believe, towards the end of our first year in Uganda. It was 2009, and she was a couple months old at that point. One sec. Yeah. Where'd you put the green cutting board when you unloaded? Oh, I put it to the left of the dishwasher on that drawer down there, or the cupboard. Yeah. I don't know where it went. Sorry. Will. All right, we're back. What was I saying?
About how you first got Tefu.
Yeah. So
A
2009,
few months old.
a few
Where?
months old.
Yeah.
I don't
How
think we
did
know.
you? How did she end up being a part of the family?
Yeah, that's a good question. So let's see. Growing up, we had cats. We'd always wanted a dog. We had one when I
Yeah.
was very little, or maybe I wasn't even born yet, and my brother was little. But it was a little too much. The dog liked to like dig under the fence and stuff. So my parents were just like, can't do it. I think we gave her to another family. But yeah, so we'd always wanted one, and Uganda was just kind of a perfect opportunity. We had so much space, and so my parents finally relented and allowed for that. And then so we went to Kampala, the capital, and we got her from a rescue shelter where I believe the Britons had gotten their dog from recently. I think they had Bubbly before we got Tefu, I believe. Is that
No way.
no?
Surely not. I remember Bubbly
No,
coming
never mind, never mind.
like
I don't think that's true.
years after.
I don't think that's true.
Who else? Who else would have had
You
a
know who
dog though?
we got our dog at the same time as Auntie Kate got her dog.
Yes.
And okay, so the story was basically we went with her
Yeah.
into town. I think we were just probably doing a normal shopping thing, and then we were also going to get a dog. I don't know if she was planning on one or not. Anyway, she found one that she really liked. There was a whole bunch to choose from. I liked. I believe they were from the same litter, even though a lot of them looked quite different. There was like a kind of a blonde one looking like it kind of looked like a like a lab, like a golden. Anyway, short hair though, but and it was a boy. But my parents wanted a girl, so let's see. I believe Tefu was there. She's just the cutest little puppy, and I believe she had
Yeah.
like a. They all had different colored collars on. They weren't, they didn't have names. But I think she had the clear collar. Um, and then one of her brothers, who had this, he was kind of he looked almost like a German Shepherd, not in the face, but in the coloring. And so we brought them both home, and we got Tefu, who's our little golden doggy, and then Auntie Kate got the German Shepherd looking one who became
Huh.
Bambino, and he became a enormous dog,
Oh my days.
and
Yeah, he was a rascal as well.
he's so
Abs.
friendly, dude. He was so friendly.
Yeah,
I miss that guy.
yeah.
But
Nice, man.
yeah,
Well, I
brought her
think
home.
I think what I mean, you know, Taefu wasn't even my dog, and I've still got incredibly fond memories of her. And she, it was so nice that when I came to visit you after on my way back from New Zealand, it was so nice to see her again because she, and I think this isn't just to me, but anyone that knows the Anderson family knows that yeah, like Taefu's just part of the family, man. And so I think she's been a real blessing to you guys, but you've also just been a blessing to her. So yeah, man, but sadly, sadly these things happen. Obviously our dog, who's called Hacky for some reason, which was not the most appealing name, but bless him. He was we got him from like one of our neighbors. So we were staying in this place. It was basically just two houses, like yeah, so semi detached. So they were attached to each other, but not on the other side. And then we would share a compound and everything. So she was crazy, man. She had like three dogs, two cats, and both of these cats were fat as anything. They both looked like Garfield. And then she had three dogs that were all ridiculously different. And then we were leaving to move house, and she was like, "Do you want to take Haki with you? Like, he only plays with you guys and your kids, so like, why not go for it?" We were like, "Yeah, fine." Um, he was a little rascal, but bless him, we all loved him. And then he passed away while I was in New Zealand. But it's amazing how I think the point I'm coming to is it's amazing how like you know animals and specifically pets just become part of the family, and how that's dogs and cats now, which are kind of a normal one. And I think what I want to ask you, because I mean I've seen some people have some stupid pets, like some weird ones. Like obviously snakes, some people have. I've seen some people with like dangerous ones. What's the craziest pet that you've seen someone own?
Let's see.
Whether or not you've known them or not really known them at all.
Yeah, off the top of my head, one of our neighbors, I think before we moved, would that make sense? I don't know. Maybe it was one of the times we were back, had like this 6 foot boa constrictor, I believe,
What?
and he asked if we wanted to see it one time, so we went over there. Crazy.
6 foot.
Yeah, it was a big boy, and I guess they could get longer too. I don't know, but it was huge. It was quite large. And he just had
Yeah,
this
see, that's
massive glass enclosure for it. It was something. It was something. I don't know.
yeah. I see. Yeah. Go
I
on.
could I could own a snake. I think I don't know. I prefer cats and dogs. I think that a lot of people think that snakes are like slimy and gross, but if you ever hold one, they kind of just feel like cool to the touch, like the scales and stuff. It's kind of neat, and just the
Yeah.
way they move.
But
But they
I
just feel
feel
like
like
such a
if you have something
predator.
that's like 6 foot, I'd like to have something like a little small that can, just like play with my arm or something. Um, but I feel like a 6 foot, like you're just surely that's just got to be torture for the poor thing. And I suppose that is the point of people that just say that pets aren't the most ideal thing. But which is why, living out in Uganda, Tefu had all the space in the world. She had one of the biggest back gardens that a lot of dogs could ever dream for. So it was kind of like, well, maybe that's the best way to do it. I mean, Tefu was and she is happy, and
Yeah. I mean,
I don't
on
know.
that note,
Yeah.
I will say, while she was like the queen of a multi-acre territory while in Uganda, and she loved that, when we were gone, she was very sad, and the people who were watching her like noticed that. So she's definitely like more. She values being with us more than she does wherever she is, and she's fine. And
Oh,
she gets
absolutely.
walks daily, and we have a backyard that she loves to romp around in and chase the rabbits and squirrels and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely like we were worried like bringing her out of that, but ultimately her biggest priority is just being with the
It's
family.
the
And that's one
family.
thing that's great
Yeah.
about her too. She'll always just, if we're all sitting in the living room, she'll be there right in the middle of the carpet, just hanging out with everybody. Or if we're downstairs
She's
in the
so
kitchen,
sociable.
whatever,
Yeah.
she just loves to be with people. And that's my
Yeah.
favorite quality in an animal, is if they enjoy the people. And two cats that I have here at the house that I'm at now. They're two of my roommates' cats, but they visit everybody, and they just like to be with people. So if you go down to the kitchen and you're
They're
making,
so cute. You take photos of them all the time, but honestly, they're just the cutest things. They're absolutely adorable. And I was thinking obviously that's the reason why people just love dogs so much as well, is just because they're massively sociable animals. I remember us having a cat when I was a youngster, but I remember the cat just being not the most friendly thing at all. Fortunately, I don't think I was old enough to remember being scratched. I don't know if I was, to be fair, but I can imagine I was, and I can't imagine it being the nicest thing, but especially at that age. Yeah, I mean, do you reckon you'll have a dog or dogs at some point?
yeah, that's kind of a long-term goal of mine, is to have.
Yeah.
I could potentially have one here. The only thing is I just don't know where I'm going to be living in the years following, and having a dog is
Yeah.
kind of it makes finding a place to live a lot more difficult, because
Absolutely.
some people won't take them, some people don't want them. It's a lot of responsibility. You want to make sure they can have a yard or somewhere to run around in. So
Mm.
anyway, it seemed irresponsible to get one, and it probably was. So
Yeah.
it's but
How?
yes, I would definitely love one for sure.
Yeah. How on earth did you bring taefu back from Uganda to the US? Like, what it like? How did that happen?
It was a bit of a process, actually. So you have to. I don't know how it is now. Yeah, I have no idea what the travel restrictions would be on pets nowadays. But when we did it in 2015, what the deal was, you had to have a notice from the vet that, I believe it was like within a week or 2 weeks from when you were going to fly, that they were in good health. So we took her in for a checkup like the week before our flight, and I
Yeah.
think the plan was they're like, okay, well, when you need it ready, and then we like picked it up on the way to the airport or something.
Mm.
And then the vet also gave us, uh it was definitely not an injection. So I think it was just some kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like anesthesia to uh is that even it? I don't even know. Something to make them sleep on the
Yeah.
plane. And so
For,
we took
for
our
the
cat
duration.
and dog back with us, and so they had to each be fed a pill. And then the other, so yeah, so there was that. They had to have a certain size of kennel to be transported in, and it had to be like, it was like 5 times bigger than the animal or something like that. Like they could fit. Anyway, it was quite big.
Wow.
So we had a massive kennel for Tefu. We had a medium-sized one for the cat, and then so they had to be asleep. They had to have the vet notice. They had to have the kennel, and then also, I believe we flew KLM, which goes through Amsterdam, and
Mm.
the deal was, I believe if the layover was longer than, what was it? It was like longer, if it was longer than like 5 hours or 8 hours, or some magic number, that if that was the case, then you had to pay for a pet hotel where they would be, I guess, groomed and bathed and fed and walked around. And I have no idea how that would have gone for Tefu, because she is infamously terrible with other dogs
Yeah.
that she doesn't know, and great with people. She's the friendliest dog you'll ever meet, but as soon as another dog comes in her territory, or even not her territory, she'll just bark at it forever. So that's always been a thing. So I have no idea how that happened, but I believe that they did take her out. And then when we arrived back in Seattle, uh, we got her back, and she was, of course, happy to see us. But what was weird was the kennel that she arrived back home in was not the kennel that we sent her out from Uganda in.
No.
And there was like
No.
there was a little note on it that said the other one had cracked or something. And so they put her in this other one, and it was the exact same size. And the only key difference was the new one did not have wheels, and the old one you could put some wheels on the bottom and roll around. So I was like lugging this again. The
Oh
she's
my
like
gosh.
an 80-pound dog. Is that true? 60? Anyway, not light. And on top of that, I'm like, trying to carry this massive kennel around. It
I tell
was
you what, I would have loved to see a photo of that.
it was
That would
so
have been
cumbersome.
brilliant.
I ended up just sliding it on the floor
Wow.
most of the way, but
I'm not surprised, man. That
yeah,
sounds
it was weird.
awful.
It was a weird time, but then we were home
That
and it
is
was great. So
strange. How did she adjust when you first got home and you're like, yeah, this is home now?
at first, I mean, expectedly, she definitely didn't feel like it was her territory. Like our house was,
Yeah.
someone else's house, and she had never been here before. But I don't exactly remember the time frame, but within a couple months, she was, defending her own. Like I said, she'll bark at other dogs a lot. And when we first moved over, she didn't really feel like she could. I think because she was
Like, yeah,
she
in
was in
control enough. Yeah.
yeah, she was in someone else's territory, and then
Oh, bless her.
as,
Yeah.
as soon as she started to feel comfortable, then she started to chase away other dogs. But
Nice.
yeah, and then
Wow, man.
yeah,
Because I mean, I've always thought that of like what used to happen with transporting dogs overseas, but I don't think I'd ever actually asked you about that, and so I'm glad that I know that now. But yeah, that sounds like an absolute faff and a half, mate. Honestly, one, you know, I've because I've never had to do it
hmm
yet, not to my knowledge. Or I mean, maybe my parents did, but they just kept it very well hidden. Not to my knowledge I've ever had to do that. But yeah, I mean, it'd be an interesting question to see what it's like now, to see if it's either easier or harder to do.
I can't imagine it got easier. I mean,
I have no
especially with
idea.
virus and stuff, I feel like people would
Oh
be
yeah, 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 yeah.
infinitely
But
more
like,
cautious.
just
But
traveling as a human being at the moment is hard
yeah,
enough. So
exactly.
yeah, man. I mean, we're going into our second lockdown here, so
Yeah.
that's pretty weird. I mean, you're still working and everything at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, and I've been working this whole time because my job is essential, and the buildings that I work have to be manned 24/7. So I've worked throughout the whole
Oh,
pandemic,
but if
which
other
has
people
been
stopped,
other people. Oh yeah, definitely.
well,
Not.
sorry, but what about right now? Like, cause
I think people are back
yeah,
at work now.
okay, okay,
A lot of people, like I think all of my roommates work from home at least some of the time, whereas previously they
wow,
would go into an office or something. So I think a lot of
yeah,
jobs have moved to home, especially if people are working on computers and stuff.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
but I think as far as people just being back at work, like doing work, or if they need to go to work, they do. I think that's pretty much back to normal at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I when we started up work again, it was kind of like straight back into it for me. Working in hospitality, it was it's like, right, well, you've gone from not seeing anyone to, yeah, hello, here's like 100 new faces per day, and it's like, oh, hi,
I
and
like
obviously,
it was like reduced
yeah, go on.
capacity though, right?
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we were still ridiculously busy. So
Really
we
interesting.
were running at probably about 75-80%
Oh
capacity.
wow,
So we took out maybe like 3-4 tables at the very beginning,
interesting.
which was good. That means it was like 2 meters per table easily, probably more. And it just meant that obviously, because there were like work bubbles and stuff, so we were okay. But you're meeting just a lot of random people. We met a few people who were just saying no to masks. They were like, no, we don't believe in them. And you're like, like what, this thing I'm wearing about, you don't like, what do you mean you don't believe in it? Like, you don't believe it does anything, or you don't believe that it exists? I don't know, man.
The
You
mask is
met
a
a lot.
lie.
The mask is a lie. You met a lot of funny characters. There were people that took offense. There was one lady where I was like, oh, like, do you have a mask? She's like, no, I'm exempt, I have my card. And that's a really rude thing to ask, by the way. And I was like, I mean,
Is it though? Just doing my
so
job here,
like,
like.
sorry. I mean, yeah, man, honestly, it was. But yeah, like I said, just straight back into it. Honestly, it's been it's been weird. And so coming into the second lockdown, obviously, having the family here and everything has been great. It's been nice to just get a few things done really while I've been at home, just a few various radio stuff, prepping for Christmas, which we have spoken about before on the pod of how we think that's going to look. I mean, we certainly still have no idea over here of what it's going to be like. We've
Yeah,
been told that the second lockdown will end early December,
that's
but
convenient.
yeah, I mean, it's either that. We've also been told that it might, it might stop a week before Christmas, which is just as convenient. So honestly, man, it is mental, and everything that's going on just in the world at the moment is a bit crazy. 2020 has been weird. I saw a photo the other day actually of so it was Back to the Future 1 basically, and so like the doc, he's in the car, he's chatting to Marty, and he's like, Marty, I cannot stress enough, never ever set it to 2020. And I was just like, man, that's just so true. Like, it's been an absolutely upside down year for I don't know, for so many people. Also, we did mention this before. I watched Interstellar the other day with my little brother and the family.
Nice.
To be fair, I'm taking my little brother through the Christopher Nolan movies just because they're so good. You inspired me to do that. To be fair,
Nice, dude.
but I didn't remember how deep of a movie it is. Like the amount of times you have Matthew McConaughey in tears, and you're just like, oh my days, man, I'm weeping over here on the couch. Like it's so good, but it's such a powerful movie. It's also right. It's also stupidly long. Like it's a
very long.
massively massive movie. But I've got to say one of his best, easily one of his best. I think it's such a class movie. We also watched Oblivion. Have you seen that?
Is that the one with Natalie
Tom
Portman?
Cruise.
Oh.
No.
What am I thinking of?
What are you thinking of?
Are
you thinking of? Do you mean Emma Blunt instead of Natalie?
No. I was thinking
with
of
also Tom Cruise.
No. What's the one where Natalie Portman goes into like her? It's her husband is Oscar Isaac in the film, and then they go into like this bubble that's like kind of like an alien, like dimension sort of. Oh, what's it called? Oh, Annihilation. Annihilation. That's what it's called. That's what I was thinking.
Ooh, I haven't seen that.
It's crazy. It's a wild film. It's brutal.
Who directs it?
I don't know. I should.
Okay.
I do not. That is a crazy movie. I do recommend it. It is intense though. So I don't know how you are with like gore, but there's a couple like rough scenes. It's not the whole film, but there's a couple scenes where it's like.
I think I do okay with it. I just almost get sick for a minute. I see. How
Okay, wait. Which one's Oblivion? It has.
So Oblivion. So you got Tom Cruise. I don't know what the lady actress's name is, but he's based. Oh no, to be fair, it's got him and Morgan Freeman. He's the other big actor in it, and it's basically so it's like after there was this massive world war where they got attacked by like aliens, and there's basically loads. I don't want to say any spoilers.
Okay, that's fine. I feel like I can picture the poster, but I don't know if I've seen the movie. But I
so the poster will be him in like a full on like white sort of like almost like a tracksuit thing. Very very futuristic, very cool. Yeah, highly worth a watch. It's got the girl from Quantum of Solace as well, from the Bond movie. Slightly older than how old she was in
Eva
that one.
Green?
I mean, I think that's what her name is.
I think I've only seen that movie one time.
Mate, Quantum of Solace was average at best. Casino Royale is my favorite so far of the ones I've watched, but I think I've also only seen the first 3, so I do need to see the others.
I don't know. Anyway,
Skyfall was sick.
Oblivion.
Anyways, man, yeah. So what? Because I've gone through a stupid amount of movies recently. Have you been watching any movies recently? Like, what was the last movie you watched?
What was the last movie that I watched? Let's see. Might have been Interstellar with the boys, to be honest. I haven't.
The boys.
Or Pirates of the Caribbean. I watched the first one recently.
What? Oh, I'll tell you what. That's
so
a shout.
Good. So good.
I haven't seen those in ages, man.
The first 3 are always worth watching, in my opinion.
Yeah,
no, I've been watching a couple shows.
How many are there? Though? Aren't there like
there's 5. The 5th one is terrible. It's so bad. 4th one is like a solid, like okay, but did not need to be made. The 5th one, I literally.
I'm pretty sure I've only seen the first 3, and I'm fine with that.
You're not missing out. You're not missing out.
Yeah. It
Fifth
is a
one,
shame when they
I
do
fell
that.
asleep 2 separate times while trying to watch it on a plane. So I was like, oh, the
What?
movie ended and I've woken up. All right, let's rewind to the last thing I remember. Start, fell asleep again. I literally,
No
it was,
way.
yeah. I was probably super
That's
jet lagged and
outrageous.
all this stuff, but like, not a great movie. Not a
Still,
great movie.
yeah. I do love watching movies on planes, to be fair.
That
Like you
was the
kind of get your
excitement of flying. You
setup,
just be like,
get
let's
your
go.
plane food.
We got 20
But yeah,
hours.
what
That's 10 movies. Let's go.
literally, literally every time, like there was no mention of sleep. It's like I'll deal with the jet lag when I'm there. I'm not actually bothered.
Right now,
Apparently,
it's movie time.
apparently it's movie time. It's movie time and it's food time. Just bring me the food. Apparently the jet lag cure is tomato juice.
I don't buy it.
And I'm like, why does it have to be tomato juice? Like, can't it just be like orange juice or a decent juice? Like, I can't drink tomato juice, man.
What question I have that
Go on.
which well I guess for you the time difference was never quite as dramatic. Oh no, but you did Australia. That'll be dramatic from anywhere. Or New Zealand, pardon.
New Zealand. Mate,
But
that was outrageous. So yeah, go on.
for me, oh sorry, my question was for me. Jumping backwards in time was always a much worse jet lag than going forwards in time. I feel like I was able to adjust much quicker when I was going from US to Uganda, which was like a 10-hour forward time jump, and it took a lot longer to get used to when I was going backwards in time for whatever reason.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I feel the opposite. So, especially the first time when I did UK to NZ, oh my gosh. Like, firstly, it was a massive flight. And I think I was on my feet in the terms of like never really resting properly.
Right.
So I did 2 flights, and the whole travel took me. Actually, no, it was 3. It was 2 major flights and then a mini hop skip from Auckland to Palmerston North, and I was that was about 24 hours, not
Wow.
including the added time of just about another 12 hours. So, I mean, my body was just shattered, and I slept. I slept on both flights quite a lot. I didn't sleep for the first sort of half of the first flight. I didn't sleep. Managed to sleep it off after like a glass of wine or something. Second flight, slept for the majority of it. Got there and I was just exhausted. But it was like first thing in the morning. So I got picked up by the family, by the Bowens, who I love them so much. They dropped their kids off at school, and it was like, right, Joel, you're here. This is your house. Unpack. And they were like, you're not going to go to sleep, are you? And I was like, I mean, I'm really, like, I'm about to just drop, but let's just go out and meet people. So I think people's first impression of me was not the best. They're like, mate, this guy Joel is just weird. He's just loopy, man. And this guy's mental. But back to your question,
Yep.
I think I dealt better the other way round. So when I was gaining time,
Right.
per se. So when
Yep.
I was going backwards,
Yep.
I felt better rather
Interesting.
than going forwards. Which is really strange. But yeah, so for example, the time difference at the moment for New Zealand is like 13 hours. So even if you're traveling there, you're just like, mate, that's just half a day gone. It's just disappeared. Like I'm not
Yep.
getting that back until I fly back here. So it's insane. Wait, because what was the difference? Because our difference right now is
8.
8 hours.
Yeah.
And you're 8 hours ahead, aren't you?
No, I'm behind. So it is
Yes,
Tuesday
you are. You're
afternoon,
behind. So
and you're Tuesday night. Yeah.
So, and the US, not the US, and Uganda for ours is like 2-3 hours
Forward.
behind.
Oh, behind.
Forward.
What? Forward, yeah. Likely, because
It is forward. So
Yeah.
that means you were having to deal with like 10 or so hours.
I believe it was either 10 or
Which is
11, depending on
crazy.
if the daylight savings was on or not. I believe it was 10 or 11. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally half a day. So.
Yeah, man, just gone, just like that. You don't even think about it, man. Nah, it was mental. I do love flying though, because it's just exciting going around like Dubai airport. We used to stop off at Singapore as well. Just exciting, you know. The buzz of the places I feel is just unreal. And planes, I just find planes exciting. They're just cool. I just find them.
Yeah, it always means
I
you're going
think-
somewhere, which is generally going to be fun. So.
Usually. Yeah, usually. Nine out of 10. 9 times out of 10. Yo, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's podcast of Spooned It. We are the boys, Joel and Jensen. Make sure to get in touch, by the way, with anything that you would like to let us know of. Gents, how can they do that, man?
Leave it in the comments. We have our business email in our YouTube channel. The comments are going to be the easiest way to reach us, and we would love to hear from you. Tell us about your pets. Tell us about your flights. Tell us about what movies you're watching. Tell us about how your quarantine experience has gone. We would love to hear from you. We love doing this every week, and we are happy to have you here. So we hope you have a fantastic week, and we will see you in a week.
Amen. Peace. Cheers, guys.